So we're going on a rescue mission because my buddy Mike is in town with this giant 13-axle heavy haul setup and his truck is giving him problems. Now I have a heavy haul truck of my own that could hook onto his trailer and pull it, a heavy wrecker that can tow his truck away, and I even have this true hitch here that when paired with my heavy haul tractor can hook onto his whole truck and 13-axle trailer fully loaded and tow the whole setup all at once. But all of that would make way too much sense. And making sense is not in my vocabulary, so David and I are going to go head out on the rescue mission in a 95-year-old car. Make sense?
Yeah, totally.
No, nothing makes sense.
No,
That's why we're doing it. Let's go. So we are off in our heavy haul service truck. That car's been broke down there all day. They should really call a tow truck. And that guy's hauling some water. Good thing all these roundabouts cleared up all the traffic jams in town so that it's so much quicker and easier, you know, to get around.
Yep.
Look, the traffic is jammed all the way up to the next roundabout. I mean, well, there's the problem. It's a Kenworth. And there's a big ass transformer. Okay, to make a long story short, since this story is about to get a whole lot longer, we got there, got my computer plugged into the truck. Came up that it was in severe derate due to an exhaust manifold leak. Verified that yes, exhaust manifold gasket is leaking. So it cleared it out of derate, and once it was cleared out of derate, the truck, we started it up and it went into a regen all on its own. Didn't even have to do a forced regen. My computer will do forced regens, but the truck did it on its own. Did a regen to clear out its filter and then didn't have another problem, which makes sense when you have a less restrictive filter in your exhaust. You're going to have less problems with the exhaust manifold leaking pressure out because, you know, you have lower exhaust pressures. So that all got done. They got that trailer out of there on time with no derate. We're able to get to the next load and haul another load back to Idaho at 200-something thousand pounds without an issue. Got back to the yard and able to fix it there back at home, so that worked out perfectly. Then after that, David and I went out into the mountains, did a recovery with the track Jeep, got back home, done for the day, so I sent him home. And then I got a phone call saying a company had one of their drivers got off the side of the road, stuck in a ditch, and needed winched out. David had probably just gotten home. It was right down the road from me, so I didn't bother calling him all the way back down here to go a couple minutes down the road and do a quick little winch out. So I headed over there, and this is what I showed up to. And as you can see, everything they said was true. The truck got off the side of the road, was stuck in a ditch, and most definitely needed to be winched out. They just severely understated every single one of those things. And to credit the dispatcher that called, they even said, our driver's not giving us much information, so we don't really have much more to tell you. Can you get over there and at least see what's going on? So got there, saw what was going on, called him back and told him, hey, this is not a one truck, one guy type of job. You guys are going to have to call Consolidated Towing for this. And they said, well, we think we're going to check our options. And I said, I don't think you heard what I said. You are going to have to call Consolidated Towing for this. You do not have another option. They are the only ones in this area who have the manpower and the equipment to do recovery that big. Yes, this will absolutely do the winching that was needed in that job, whether the truck pulling the main truck out or the one on the tail hold of the trailer. Either way, no problem. But since the trailer was buckled and ruptured and the load was blown through the front of the trailer didn't have the structural integrity to get pulled out of there without ripping in half, and then we'd have dumped that whole load of cargo, or at least a good portion of it, into the canal, which was not an option, especially since it was 34,000 pounds of paper bags. So the trailer had to be unloaded where it sat and then put into another trailer, which I don't have. I don't have the telehandler to do that. I don't have the manpower to do that. I don't have traffic control to do that, the light tower, all the stuff that was needed. So the other problem was when that load slid forward through the trailer, most of the pallets got damaged. The wrapping holding the boxes of paper bags onto the pallets got all torn. Everything shifted and moved apart in there. So I would say 3/4 of those pallets had to be hand unstacked and stacked onto a new pallet, and then saran wrapped and then moved over to the new trailer. So it was a ton of handwork. And that's just something I, as a one-man owner-operator, do not have the resources to do. So Consolidated brought in their telehandler and started pulling the pallets off the back of the trailer that were easy to access. Then they brought in a few more guys and another trailer of their own to transfer the load over into. My truck sat down there flashing its red lights because they look cool. Then SMAF Environmental showed up and put some booms in the water right there, way down there, and then some more way down there by that house to catch any spills coming out of the truck. Then after that, they pumped all the remaining fuel out of the tanks. Meanwhile, the guys kept hand stacking and unloading more pallets. And this is what most of the boxes looked like after the wreck. Later that night, I decided that orange trucks pay better than red ones, so I switched teams. And there was lots and lots more hand unloading of that trailer, stacking pallets before the telehandler could take it away. And then the first of the two wreckers showed up to start getting rigged up for the pull. Once we got into the front of the trailer, you can see it was in the water, which started soaking up through all those paper bags and just making the bottom of the pallets complete mush that wouldn't hold together. And the farther we got, the deeper the water got, which means the bigger mess we had. And all of this had to be hand unloaded, stacked on new pallets, and wrapped. It was an absolute mess. The pallets up in the front were smashed in so hard that we couldn't pull them out by hand, so we had to resort to the chain and the telehandler to pull that stack apart. And then, of course, it fell down into the water, making a bigger mess, but at that point, it had stacked so much that it really didn't matter anymore. Here you can see trying to get every single paper bag out of the front of that trailer so that nothing escaped and got into the canal. Once all the boxes were gone, you can see the water running through the front of the trailer. And here it is, all cleaned out, all the boxes gone, the bags gone, and all the pieces of the broken pallets picked up. Then it was time for the 25-ton to get moved into place. This truck was going to be the tail hold on the trailer to stop it from getting washed downstream from the flow in that canal. And then the big 50-ton is getting backed in from up ahead to be the main pull on the front of the truck. The guy started running the cable all the way down across the bridge to get hooked up to the back of the trailer. And the 50-ton's backing through the brush to get lined up at the front of the truck. And yes, that is a very nice truck with brush scratching down the side of it, but sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. And the 25-ton getting its line pulled tight, and the boom is all the way up in the air to help put some lift on the back of that trailer and help from tearing up the bottom of the canal. The guys start digging out the tow hooks in the front of that truck, which are all packed full of mud. And then they get the hooks pinned in place, then connect the snatch box. Now they start running out the lines and rigging everything in place, and then getting the boom out in position for the pull. You can see that is two 50,000-pound winches, and both of them are doubled up. Now both trucks are in position ready to pull, and the telehandler's at the back of the trailer to lift that underride bar over the bank of the canal and set it down on the bottom so we don't tear up the bank. So now the 50-ton starts pulling. You can see how hard the front end of that truck is wedged into the bank there. And you can see by the line on the 25-ton, he's not pulling, he's just trying to keep up until the telehandler sets that trailer in the water, and then he needs to stop it from getting washed downstream. That 50-ton is also backed up really close and pulling up really high to try to lift the truck up the bank instead of trying to drag it through it. Here they're making some progress getting the front end up on top. And here you can see the 25-ton pulled tension on its line to help hold everything in place, while the 50-ton sets the front end of the truck down so they can get ready to reset. And now it moves forward for the next pull. They don't want to go too far because they still want to be pulling up more than forward to get it up that bank.
There you go. That'll put the tractor all the way up.
Now since the truck was on top, we tried running air to it to be able to release the brakes, but all the lines were so damaged that it just wasn't happening, so we had to give up on that. So back to pulling, and here the telehandler has set the back of the trailer in the water, and you can see the 25-ton now has its line tight the whole time to stop the back end of that trailer from getting pushed down by the water flow. And there's the main man Mike directing the operation while he also runs the 25-ton.
What we can do is bring that forklift around, grab hold of that landing gear.
And you see there, he's putting it down to reset his truck. You can also see that the telehandler came around to the other side of the trailer to help pick up where the landing gear is to stop it from digging in so bad to the bank of the canal. You can see here that front drive axle is broke free from the frame and shoved back against the rear one. When this truck left the highway, it did jump a farm access road, land, and then crash through the ditch before hitting the canal. So now here you can see the full flow of that canal is up against the side of that trailer, and that big aerodynamic skirt is not helping. Now trying to get the trailer axles up the bank, which is why the 25-ton has the boom up so high, but it's still such a hard pull at the 50-ton, it's getting dragged backwards even with the spades dug in. So to help, the 25-ton pulls extra hard, but that also pulls the tail of the trailer over to the bridge, and they don't want to hit it. You can see Mike got it as close as he could, but got it up the bank without touching the abutment. So now everything's up top, the 50 moves forward one more time, and then drags it all the way out onto the flat so it can get separated and prepped for tow. The guys start pulling the rigging off the back of the trailer, and then they pull the kingpin so they can separate the two. Now the 50 pulls the truck out from under the front of the trailer. And then this hay hauler over here didn't want to be shown up by all the bright lights on scene, so he brought a bunch of his own. Now Mike and Mikey get the fifth wheel attachment put on the back of the 25 ton so it can tow the trailer away. And I learned that I'd stop getting everything greasy if I just put a towel over my fifth wheel plate before putting it in the truck. Now Russ plays tug of war with the 50 ton to put the cables away. And then the low bed pulls into place to get ready to load the truck. Since both the front suspension and rear suspension are damaged, it has to get hauled instead of towed. Now the 50 gets pulled out of the way, so the telehandler can wheel the truck out onto the low bed. Oh, we're in Oregon, sorry. Low boy. It's a low boy here. Luckily the front end held together long enough to get it up on the trailer in one shot and set down so they could tie it in place. Then Mike gets his 25 ton backed in and swung around to line up with the trailer. All the air lines on the front of the trailer were damaged and obviously ripped off, so they put their own ends on so they could air it up and release the brakes. So then Mike starts getting the trailer pulled out while Russ swings the back end around so it can fit between the guardrails and make it out that driveway. All while we have this nice, beautiful sunrise to look at. And check this out. Not one single piece of debris, paper bag, or piece of pallet floated out of that trailer and got caught in that boom. Every single piece was contained. So once traffic was clear, Mike headed out with the trailer. You can see down there the tractor's up on the low bed. Everything's headed back to the yard, which luckily for these guys is just a few miles down the road. Now the day shift crew come back out and they'll pick up all the cones, all the extra stuff, clean up the scene, the extra pallets, boxes, and pieces, haul the forklift home, get everything all wrapped up, light tower hauled off, clear the highway, and the road is back open before the morning rush hour. And I made it out of there just in time to get to my haircut appointment. So as you can see, the consolidated crew are clearly the guys to come and handle a job like that. They've got the equipment, the manpower, the knowledge, the experience to handle something like that and make it look easy. Yes, we both have big tow trucks, but we run two very different businesses. I'm not in the big accident recovery business and don't really have any desire to be. I'm more than happy to come in and help out as needed, but that is their sandbox and they are absolute masters at it. I do get called quite a bit for bigger jobs like that, and the first words out of my mouth are always call Consolidated. And I'd imagine after watching this video, you can see why. So that's it for this one. Very different video than normal, but a very different job than normal. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that one. Awesome job by the Consolidated crew, and we'll see you guys next time.